steroids really are kind of like hormone replacement is kind of a fountain of youth, but it's a weird Pandora's box where if you go too far, it really ages you quickly.
Yeah, like you need that. Like if you have naturally like low levels and then you take it and you get optimal levels, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But then if you're like, oh, dog, can do a little bit more, then it's like,
if you're
More
able
is
to,
not always better.
if you're able to age, like everybody's aging, if you're able to age and keep your hormones that of a young man, then it's a weird thing where like that guy looks young. He's able to stay fit and all this like a young guy. Use too much and it like rapidly increases the age. We were talking about like with like the almost like the bodybuilder face when guys have done it too much for too long. Yeah. They have like that Cro-Magnon look.
Yeah, I feel like, well, no, I don't feel like, bro, I had that. And so, you know how your phone will pop up like, oh, memories from, 5 years ago, whatever. And I look at that and I see a picture of myself and I'm straight up jacked. But I also have a dude's face. And it's that thick, and you don't really notice whenever you're in it because it kind of like slowly happens. And then all of a sudden it feels like it accelerates. And then when you get out of it and everyone's like, oh, you look so much prettier nowadays. And I'm like, what? And then I see a photo and I'm like, oh, no, I was a dude.
I'd have to go back and look at pictures. Were you bodybuilding when you started with Titan?
Yes.
Full on bodybuilding?
Yeah, I was a pro. Yeah. Let me actually, you know what, dog?
I'm not going to lie.
Luke, pull it up.
Luke, pull it up.
There have been pictures on Instagram of women who have like awesome jawlines. I'm like, damn, I wish I had her jawline.
Honestly,
you always give me shit for the.
I don't find it attractive, but I would want the jawline for myself. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because it's masculine looking.
Yeah, everyone has a tolerance.
Brian's is pretty high.
Apparently, my tolerance for muscular women is very high.
This is where Luke puts all the pictures of the girls that.
that'd be really good for me. These are all the girls that Brian thinks are. They're all these.
These are dudes.
Female bodybuilders with beards.
Yeah,
that's a thing. We found out that's a thing.
Like
we'll get into it.
It's its own
I
category.
was about to say, like, when are we going to do that?
First, I think we should introduce who our guest is.
We should introduce.
We're sitting here with
IFBB Pro.
Brittany.
Oh, yeah.
Larson.
You can call me Dr. Larson.
Dr. Larson, congratulations. She is now
Paging Dr. Larson.
Paging Dr. Larson.
You're a doctor of what?
Yeah. Pompous ass shit, my friend. Functional medicine.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Non-physician, though. Thank you. Yeah. It's cool because, like, my psychiatrist, she'll call me, and because I'm crazy still, right? So, like, she'll call me and she'll be like, hey, I need help with this patient. Like, what do you think? And I'm like, oh, hey, did you run this? What does this look like? Hey, how about this? And she's like, oh my gosh, you're my back pocket friend. And then she'll call me later and I'll be like, hey, what happened with that lady? Because obviously there's like HIPAA and you don't share like identifiable information. And so I'll be like, how's she doing? She's like, you know what? She was on this and this and this, and I didn't even know. And I'm so glad that you had mentioned that. And she's like, she's doing great. I'm like, awesome. And so, like, we're getting to the point where I'm not going to be in psychiatry anymore. And she's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do without you? And she's like, I just got your email.
Psychiatrist going to have a breakdown because you leave.
And I think that's so cool because, like, me, I feel like I'm an imposter. You know,
imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Everybody feels that way.
Bro, I'm like, I'm in these really in-depth consultations talking about like pretty serious stuff. And in my brain, I'm like, oh my God, they take me serious. But I laugh at like ball jokes. I'm like going home, I'm like, oh, balls, ha ha ha.
Imposter syndrome's kind of a terrible, we've talked about it before. It's kind of a terrible thing because the real thing is it's almost, I have it and I wonder if like, God, is this my own ego? Because I'm fucking nobody and I still have it. You know what I mean? Like I know who I am. I know I'm nobody. And if someone say like recognize me or so, I get self-conscious and I have this I mean, it's because we're online, we're on social media a lot and it's local. So of course I recognize people, but when it's me, I get like, kind of like, oh, I'm not really this guy. I'm not like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like years ago. So back when like DLB, Daylin Bailey, when, I mean, I don't know, I don't follow her stuff anymore, but like back when I got into women's physique, like that was whenever women's physique first came out. And she had like the short hair. Well, I already had short hair and I was prepping for a show. And this was whenever I was with like Metroflex Gym and I'd flown out to Texas to do like a booth and everything. And so I'm ripped. I have that short haircut and I'm going to like the restroom. I'm going somewhere and all of a sudden someone's like, Dana Lynn Bailey. And I'm like, oh shit, she's here? And they're looking at me. And I'm like, oh, where is she? Where is this girl? No, they thought I was her. And
Literally?
then, yes.
Did you run with it?
No, I didn't. I literally ran away because there was a group of them and they were chasing after me and I had to hide like in the bathroom. I was just so like weirded out. Yeah. And then, and it was also kind of cool too because I was like, whoa, I'm like literally a nobody here. Like,
one time I was on a jet ski at the lake and a drunk guy from a boat yelled, Brock Lesnar.
You should be in for Halloween, like with that big sword.
The big wiener looking sword on my chest.
Wiener looking sword. Actually, just this morning. So like when I was bodybuilding, a lot of people, I'd be out somewhere and just like what you're talking about, someone would recognize you. And having 2 strokes, like around the time if I met you when I had a stroke, like the likelihood of me remembering you is very slim. So when people would come up to me, they're like, oh, Coach Muscle Nugget. And I don't know you, but I'm like, oh, I must know you. So I'm going to act like I know you because I'm not like an asshole. But brother, I really don't remember. And so anyway, so now that I'm like removed from, competing and I've kind of like, pulled back some, just this morning, a girl was like, oh my God, you're in Missouri. I live in Missouri. I'm having a total fangirl moment. I'm like,
this is out somewhere?
This was this morning. Yeah.
Someone saw you or messaged you?
Message me.
Oh, okay.
Because I made like a post yesterday on my story and I was like, oh, I'm in
So
Michigan.
like, oh my God, we're in the same state?
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, I'm having a total fangirl moment. And I'm like, I don't know.
I travel.
Makes you feel good a little bit.
It kind of does because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's neat. I didn't know people still liked me without muscles because I've lost like thousands of followers. And then people got mad at me. Like they're mad at me that I had a kid.
That's crazy.
It's weird. Yeah.
Crazy. We talked about this the other night. Not many people come back from it. Like I don't come back from it is maybe not a good word. You don't go, especially females.
Oh, are you talking about like from doing all the gear and then
Full
having a
in,
kid?
full in female bodybuilding to I'm gonna be a mom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a mom, raise a kid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a healthy, normal person.
Yeah. That's kind of how I got into functional medicine. At first it was kind of like I fell through all the cracks, like with the Crohn's and the lupus and all of this stuff. And like I would ask questions. I'm like, there's got to be like a deeper like root to this. And they look at me like, oh, that's not going to work. And then I would go and run tests and pay for all this stuff myself. And then I would go back after like I'm getting better. And literally the gastro, he was like, well, I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. And I'm like, brother, why are we paying you thousands of dollars? What's happening? But now it's like women, even men have seen me like go from that to this to now having like a child. And after losing, trigger warning here, now we've lost 10. Bug was number 9. And we recently, like, because we're trying to have another and recently lost another one. And so that's just, it's people see me now having her and they've been sick. They've run the gear, like they've done all this stuff and they're kind of like on this other end and they see me and they're like, how can I get healthy again? And so like, I've been helping a lot of people like that. And I think it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, it's like, bro, people don't really talk about all of this. Like in bodybuilding, it's kind of like this hidden, like you just don't really talk about it. And then people are suffering, and then like the judging, they say they want one thing and then they award something else. And it's like, they keep pushing intensity. And now before you know it, like with all due respect, like we're women, but we're chemically men.
Right.
And
So let's back up a little bit.
yeah,
If we get in like the bodybuilding thing, I told you my thoughts on bodybuilding, like as the sport of the athletes I like bodybuilding. Like I like the like we're bodybuilding fans. I like the act of going and like whether you step on literally building your body. I always say if I'm trying to like sell someone on it or I was like, it's cool. Like training, physicality, like building. It's like it's like the most simple form of evolution. If you think about it, like your nature, like you're giving a stimulus to your body. You're trying to lift weights. You're providing with materials that needs to grow. And when it's a cool thing that your body was designed to evolve and adapt to its environment. And if you're constantly saying, hey, we have this heavy shit to lift, your body says, well, I better grow more muscles to lift these weights. And it's a cool thing. It's why you respect a professional athlete who's totally jacked and stuff, because they're a master of their craft. And to do that, they had to build this really impressive physique. And it does get kind of, although I'm a fan of like bodybuilding, I think the sport is kind of cool. Like I like comic book heroes, and I like seeing like I kind of like seeing these fucking freaky huge dudes. It's kind of cool, you know. But also there's, and this is I think almost kind of out in the open now, there's also a very dark side of it, to where it's also really unhealthy to push these very supernatural levels of hormones. And one thing we might have even talked about it on here. This is why I wanted to back up a bit. I don't think people understand, like it's all lumped in, like just the word steroids, like anabolic steroids. It's kind of this huge classification, and it's like pointing at someone and saying like they're on drugs. Well, hold on. There's many levels of this. And so saying like I take steroids, I have a prescription for testosterone. I take 200 milligrams of testosterone a week.
Oh, but that's TRT, brother. That's not steroids.
Right.
Yeah.
But what, you know, and essentially it also, like with people who like what kind of steroids you're on, like they're all analogs, all anabolic, which means growth. All anabolic steroids are really analogs, you know, different substrates of testosterone, different versions, and they have different effects. Some are more androgenic, some are more anabolic, some make you hold more water, others lead you out. But they're all you're taking the male dominant hormone testosterone, and it's just different analogs of testosterone. To say like it's all, you're all on steroids or it's all bad, the level. So like I give you an example, 200 milligrams is my TRT dose. Usually between 150 and 250 is testosterone therapy doses. And that's going to put your, you know, because the range of testosterone on a blood test is huge. It's like you're quote normal.
Yeah. Like
from
200 to 1,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 200 to 1,000. Well, at 200, you probably don't feel great.
No, but you're still normal.
Right. And at 1,000, you do feel normal. At 900, you feel normal. You feel pretty good. You know, most men were probably there when they were 15 to 20. And it starts to drop off. So you can artificially take a dose of testosterone and then have your levels at 1,000. Like last time I got tested, I was like 857 or something, like really good for a 44-year-old guy. You can also take, instead of 200, you can take 400 or 500. And then you can take some other steroids, you know, maybe an oral, you can take other stuff on top of this. Some women, the popular one is primobolan, or, you know, there's also, we don't have to go deep into the weeds about it, but I think like the lay person who thinks like bodybuilder steroids or muscle guy steroids, like there's also very different, like there are steroids that are meant for your beef, like
cows.
Yeah. Like tren. Tren's a really popular thing. Trenbolone.
Yeah.
Well, tren is never meant for human use.
Right.
It's a pellet that you put under a steer's skin. And what happens is, are you familiar with this?
No.
So tren, like, well,
that's why they call it trenbolone sandwiches.
Yeah.
Trenbolone, it's a bolidine steroid. And what it is, it's for meat processing. So you can get this steer to really quickly go, I don't know, don't quote me on the timeline, instead of being a 18 or 24 months, whatever that steer has to go till it's ready to be processed, you can put a tren pellet under they put the pellet, I don't know where, under the skin though, and it makes them grow muscle, right? Yep. Meat rapidly. So then humans said, well, if I take this pellet and I break it down and I suspend it, then I can inject it in me and I will grow meat muscle rapidly. That's why it's a crazy fucking steroid. It, you know, psychologically it changes its, you know, it's a really hardcore. Have you ever taken tren? Is that
I was accused of it, actually. I did a Titan. It was like a collab or something. And this was like years ago. This was actually before I had it. Do you remember that?
No, but people do just throw out. So you've never actually taken it. That'd be a pretty cart. That'd be a pretty, you tried it? I took a shot once, but I got a zit on my back and I stopped. I was like, I want to see it. I want to see what this is all about. I literally got a zit. Stopped. I have no idea if the zit was from the trend, but it was enough that I was like,
worth the risk.
I was really hesitant about it, so it was kind of my excuse to bitch out. But my point is, there's EQ, equipoise, it's equine. It's what they use to race horses. It wasn't meant so that your red blood cells go way up. You can, but if a horse's red blood cells go up, they can fucking run around that track. They got oxygen pumping through the blood.
Dude,
and they're big and
EQ made
strong.
me sick.
Yeah. So my point is like, so you can't lump it all in. Like there's people that take 200 milligrams of testosterone, and then you say like, well, you can't say that's unhealthy. It's if you're putting yourself in normal levels. But then there's bodybuilding, and there's so many steps between even just TRT, wanting to be a little, kind of bigger, kind of like it's like saying the guy that takes a vacation to the beach with his, a couple's retreat to the beach and buys a little weed on the beach on vacation. Hey, has a good time. Like, he's a fucking druggie. Yeah. The same as the guy, bent over from fentanyl, injecting heroin laced fentanyl or, fentanyl laced methamphetamine. Well, these are clearly both drug users.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very different, I don't mean to say bodybuilders are like junkies or something, but it is the equivalent of when you see something so outlandish, like so doses, people shit on me for saying this, but if you don't know like doses of like professional bodybuilders, and honestly, there's probably more people not professionals using high amounts of drugs thinking that's what's going to take them to get to those levels, but it's 10 times, like 10x. So what would be 200 milligrams, a professional bodybuilder or someone just really hitting hard, they're taking 2 grams, so 2,000 milligrams. And then probably, Tyler, on top of that, they're you
doing other stuff,
blast and cruise. They're probably, I won't say his name, but I had a very respected professional bodybuilder tell me, like, he's like kind of the gold standard, like the maximum you can grow, maximum you can take is about 4 grams a week. 2 grams of testosterone, 2 grams of other stuff.
But at what point is there like a rate of no return?
Over 4 grams. He thought that was kind of like the pinnacle of like what your body could really assimilate and use for a big male bodybuilder, and beyond that you didn't get much. But man, at 4 grams you blast, and then you cruise, you come down, you take which I always thought the cruise is like just 750 of tests. I just take 750 of tests for this, which I'm like, but there it is a when you're talking. So if we get into the kind of like bodybuilding, the druggy stuff, that it's not that the substance is bad. It's the uses. And how much? Like what is the dose? The
dose is the poison.
What is the scent? Yeah. The dose determines the poison.
So a couple things here. One, genetically, just because now that I work in genetics, like I feel like there's such an important piece in knowing your genetics, because then you can really like optimize, and a couple of things that I was thinking about. One, birth control. Birth control is a steroid hormone, and you have women out there that it's like most women are on that because that's like the doctor's first line. Oh, you have cramps, here's a birth control. Like, oh, we're gonna castrate you, bro. Like, here you go. And then like we kind of chatted about this last night. Like, I feel like kind of every bodybuilder, whenever you get into it, like I went from being completely natural, and I kind of like argued. So I had this coach, his name was Jerry Ward. He passed away. He was a great person. And he was my coach, and I'd asked him because I got off of stage, and it was like I got 6th place at this national show. And one of the main IFBB judges was like, hey, like, if you want to be serious about this, you need to do what the other girls are doing. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you need to be doing what the other girls are doing if you want to win. And then I'm kind of like, thinking about that, mulling it over, and then I'm at this this photo shoot in J.M. Mannion, and I was like finished with the season. This is like July, and
you're a natural competitor at
that point. I'm natural, yeah. And I just did, back then it was called Team Universe, which is now it's like NPC Universe or something. And so I'm in this photo shoot, and J.M. Mannion is driving by, and he stops. He's like, "You need to do nationals," which was in Miami. I believe it was Miami then. Yeah, in November or December. It was like the end of the year. And so that means I have to extend, like I've already been in prep for like a year. I have to extend this out. And they're basically telling me, hey, like you need to be on gear and you need to do this show because you don't tell J.M. Mannion no, And so anyway, so I came back to Jerry and I'm like, hey, like I need to this is what, so-and-so said to me, like, I need to do this. And he's like arguing with me. He's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I really wish I would have listened to him back then. And so then I find another coach, because this was also whenever we had a Metroflex gym in Denver, and there was one of the guys that was there. He was like, oh, you need to get with my coach. And I'm not going to share names. And it went from me being completely natural to, oh my God, I have a whole notebook of chemicals that I have to take. And I have to look at this notebook every day because there's so much that I have to remember, like maxing out T4, like trenbolone, like everything except for testosterone, which now on this end of it, like you're taking all of that, but you don't have like an actual testosterone in your body. So like all of that's kind of
just endogenous.
Yeah. And anyway, so then, that prep actually like was the absolute worst. I was losing a lot of hair. I wore a wig on stage, and he had me eat 3 boxes of Cheerios the night before and 2 things of peanut butter. And I'm telling him, and like the night before a show, like, you need to get sleep. You need to get all this stuff. No, every hour he's calling me. And he was actually supposed to be at the show, and then turns out he didn't even show up.
This coach's a maniac.
There was actually a lady who was big in bodybuilding, and she was a wonderful lady. She was a pro, and she was his client. She passed away for reasons, cardiac reasons. Anyway, so I ended up like, I get off stage and I'm completely blown out. Like, I looked like shit. And one of the main judges, I can't think of her name right now, but she's like one of the main IFBB judges. She made me feel like shit. Like, if she doesn't like you, man, you're gonna know. And so I get off stage, and then he calls me. He's like, you were looked over. And he's like arguing with me. I was like, well, you would know if you were here. And also, why the fuck did we have me do 2 things of peanut butter and 3 things of Cheerios?
Like
jars, dog. And I literally, I started fighting him. I was like, I cannot eat anymore. Like, I was physically sick.
What was your stomach like? That's so much
like
fat.
Bro, it was such a bad deal. So that show like really taught me like, hey, don't force it. Like, and really vet, because I went from natural to all of that, and then still blew me out for the show. Like, get a grip. And so then like I call him later, because we're going into off season and stuff. And I'm like, hey, this isn't going to work out. And then he gets pissed and he blocks me. Yeah, it was just crazy. But anyway.
How old are you at this point?
I am, this was, I think like, this was 2014, 2015. So what year is it now? I'm 30. I was like 28, 27, something like that.
In the late 20s.
When did you get into bodybuilding? How did this all start?
Oh my God, do you really want that story?
I want to, because I have questions.
Okay.
I am curious how you go.
Because it sounds like you went from your natural show to then this guy just wants to blast you with stuff.
Yeah. Well, remember whenever I told you last night, I said, before I really valued my life, I would do anything for bodybuilding. I would kill myself for bodybuilding. As long as I won, that was cool. It was cool with me. That was what I was living for. That's what I was finding like my worth in, right?
Identity was in it.
Yes. And then people like, I built like this platform on it, and then it's kind of like everything about you.
Well, it's kind of when you're young, it's like a badge of honor,
Yeah.
I'll do anything.
It's social currency, especially now with social media.
It's kind of tongue in cheek, but you hear guys like joke about like, you're going to die young. Well, better get a big coffin.
Yeah. That was exactly
I'm going to be a monster.
Yeah. So kind of how I got into it, I was actually going to school. I was getting my doctorate in pharmacy. And not to like share too much of like my childhood and everything, but I really liked fitness and everything, but I was always told like, oh, that's not a real job. That's not a real job. You need a job. You're going to get insurance. You need to make money. You need to, all of this like material stuff, right? And like you and I have talked, like that's not what drives me. What drives me is like the recognition, like, hey, you did a great job today, like stuff like that. Anyway,
you get paid in attaboys.
Yeah. But bro, you can't put food in your belly with some attaboy. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this was like, years ago. I'm in a relationship with this. He was going to school to be a radiologist, and we're about to get into vaccines.
It's okay. We can talk about it.
I am okay. So previous marriage. Previous marriage, I'm about to air all this out. Oh my God. Previous marriage, I just got out of this relationship. He used to beat me and stuff. And so I end up going and like quitting my job, everything. And I go in and move to like South Texas. And the girl that I was with, she was like, oh, hey, we've got, and I've got Bill's dog. And she's like, hey, you can be a waitress. We got amateur night. Do you know where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. So I'm at this club and like, I can't be in that space. Like I got to drink, man. Like I'm not a hustler. I'm not a, hey baby. Like I'm not good with that. I call people brother and I talk about balls. Like that's not sexy to people.
Half of it.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I am like Everclear cranberry dog. Like I'm out.
You're lit while you're working.
I'm lit, dog. And I'm walking up the stairs to go into like
Luke.
the VIP area. Cacao. And I'm going to the VIP area. And again, I'm drunk and I trip and I fall on this dude and I fall on his lap. And this was, God, stupid. This is when like Twilight was a thing. Mm-hmm. And I fall into his lap and I'm like, oh, hey, Edward Cullen. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm trashed. And then a week later, I find myself married.
A week later?
Yeah, dog. Yeah. And it was kind of like a, oh, I'm about to leave. Like you can have insurance, like, basically insurance fraud, dude, because he didn't want to live on base. And then like I wanted to kind of like get out of the area. And so it was just kind of like this thing. And then we really tried to make it work. Anyway, didn't work, my fellas. It did not work. So I go back to Texas for a while because we had lived in El Paso and I went back to Fort Worth. And I'm going through this divorce and stuff. So I start dating this dude. And he's going to school to be a radiologist. And right before I had come back, I went to go see my primary care, who was still in the military. And he's like, oh, you've got lupus. You need to get, these vaccines, la, la, la. And I was like, my rheumatologist told me not to. And he started arguing with me. And he's like, well, we'll just give you a B12, la, la, la. No, it was a pneumonia vaccine. I ended up getting a super infection. And I am put in the hospital. And they weren't sure, if I was going to make it. And then they had given me so many antibiotics and Rocephin piggybacks and all this stuff that I became allergic to it. And so they're basically like, hey, we don't know if she's gonna live. We don't know. And I'd always really loved, this was back in the day when we had magazines, right? Oxygen magazines, Muscle and Fitness, Hers, all of that. And I would open up and, they'd have articles for Team Universe and figure competitors. And I loved Nicole Wilkins and all this stuff. And so my ultimate goal was I wanted to compete, but I'm going to school for this because of money and all this stuff. So it's a huge conflict. Anyway, so one night I am in bed and they're having to come check on me every hour and stuff. And there was this one nurse and I'm looking at this paper and I rip it out and I sleep with it. And it was an article for Team Universe. And she comes in and she's it had fallen on the floor. And I asked her to pick it up and she looked at it and she's like, what's this? And I was like, oh, it's bodybuilding. I really want to do that. And she's like, oh, you're too sick. Straight up just crushed me. And then the guy that I was dating, he was mad at me. He said that I was being dramatic and that I'm really not sick. They're just watching me. And so he acted out and he was really mean to me. And I'm in there fighting for my life. And then my heart's broken. These people are telling me oh, you're too sick. And then I start to really decline. And then long story short, I died and my little brother is there and I had this out of body experience and I'm having this conversation and I ultimately know who I'm talking with. And I had lost a baby with the relationship before I got married with that abusive person. And she's in a field and she grabs my hand and she's like, oh my God, you're here, let's play. And I knew who it was. And so we have these conversations and all this stuff. And I'm basically begging our creator, I need to be better. Like, please let me be better. Cause like when I was out of my body, like I saw my brother and I saw these people rushing over to my body and like, I'm trying to like grab his attention. And then I realized what's going on. And so I'm like up in spirit world, I guess. And I'm just like begging, like, give me another chance, please. Like, I need to be better. And so then like I'm in this field and it's like this gold and rose gold. And like, there's kind of like, it looks to me like there's these little puddles in this field. And she brings me up to one. So it's kind of like we're walking and like, I can't see, and I want to say his face just because like it just felt like kind of like a powerful masculine kind of figure. But like I couldn't see his face, but it's like, and we're just like walking together and she's, like holding my hand and she's skipping and she has like this blonde curly hair. And she's like, she brings me up to one of these like puddle things and I'm looking in it and she's like, let's go. And I'm like, I can't swim. And then she's like, well, let's go. And I keep saying like, I can't swim. And then like the creator's like, do you trust me? I'm like, what do you, like, I can't swim. What do you mean? And then he's like, just jump. Trust me, just jump. And I jump into this puddle and then it turns into, God, this sounds like I'm on mushrooms right now.
No, this is cool.
It's like this portal and it's like, you're going really fast and there's like, it's like dark, but there's all these lights that are going by you. And then I pop in my body. And like before, like I open my eyes, like all of a sudden I feel all of this pain and I can hear all of these like, these alarms from all of the machines and stuff around me and everything. And then it was like, oh my God, I have another chance. I have to be a better person. And I quit pharmacy school. I quit everything. And while I was in the hospital, like you can't really sleep and you're really sick. And I don't know how I made this friend on Facebook, but he was from Colorado and he would keep me company, not in like a romantic way, but in just like a cool friend way. And he was prepping for his first show. And he was like, well, let me introduce you to my coach. And so then like I get out of the hospital and then next thing I know, like packed up my stuff and I'm driving to Colorado, man. And then I get into it. And then That was in May. It was like around Mother's Day. And I did my first show that October. And I think that show, and this was when shows were big.
And you're talking competing like in what at this time?
I was in figure. Yeah, I was such a cute little figure girl. And these were when shows were like really big. This was whenever like brands would come and like they were making a lot of money with booths. This would be like 400 or 500 competitors like in the show, just packed venue. And I took second place. And then from there, I did the next show that was huge again. I think that one might have been second or third. Anyway, yeah. And then just kept training and kept growing. And then they're like, oh, do physique. And then, yeah. And it's crazy because that specific coach, like thinking about like alternate worlds here, he's huge. He's a huge bikini Olympia coach, like Ashley Kaltwasser. That's like his client. And before all of this, like I was his first assistant coach. And when I moved from figure to physique, like he didn't have any physique girls. And little impressionable me, I met this other coach whenever I was visiting Texas, and he happened to be like a women's physique coach, and like we talked and stuff. And then I decided, okay, like he has more experience with this. Like I still wanted to work with, his name was Adam Bonilla. I think he's a fantastic person now, but we had a pretty bad falling out. And so I was like, hey, Adam, like I want to do physique. I want to do like this coach. And I was thinking like I could have, the cake and eat it too, right? I could still work with Adam. And he flipped. He was so upset, dude, because we were also like friends. And I can definitely sense like he felt betrayed now. But, when you're young, you're like, oh, I'm going to do whatever's good for me, Anyway, and so now just to like see, like he's in Vegas. He's got like this huge gym. Like he's got this huge team. And then I think like, wow, who would I be if I was still in that? Like, would I be in Vegas? I know I wouldn't have met my husband. I don't know if I'd be with Titan. Like, you know? I don't know how we got on this subject, but
So, well, no, we were saying how you started. So you start out as a figure competitor, natural figure competitor. You get a coach, you do a physique, and then you make the jump to bodybuilding.
yeah.
And so this is all kind of a progressive. I mean, if you don't follow the sport, which I don't know how many people it's such a niche. You mentioned how big shows used to be. Titan used to sponsor a lot of bodybuilding shows, and there's a huge line. I remember walking into venues like when people were getting in line to get in, to get a good seat. And like, we're kind of carrying, we usually already set up, we're kind of carrying our stuff in or coming back for the late show. And you're like,
sold out.
Hell yeah. Like, this is going to be a great event for us because we're going to have so many people at the booth. And we had
fun.
Yeah. We had to have sometimes like 6 people working the booth and hand out samples and making, selling apparel. And it was happening. It was busy. I don't know that it's declined. Sometimes it's a decline in popularity. The popularity has just gone online. Like I can get I can get my fix on Instagram now. I don't have to go to the shows. And the other thing that the popular people now aren't necessarily the people on stage in the shows.
Right.
They're just influencers. They're just people that look good. Maybe don't compete or don't compete often.
Yeah.
So for you specifically, you go. So this is all like, for those that don't know, women's in kind of titrating up in size, muscularity, definition goes from bikini. This is at the time, there's other classes now, but from bikini to where you started in figure,
bikini, figure, women's physique,
and then bodybuilding. So what did you decide to make the jump to bodybuilding, or did they say, hey, you're pretty big and muscular, you need to go to bodybuilding?
So I do have a little story before I get to that. I'd gone back to Teen Universe. Well, actually, excuse me. This was before I was in women's physique. So scoot back a couple years when I'm still in figure and I'm still training with Adam. And he sponsors me. He pays for like my flight and everything to Teen Universe, and I compete in figure. And this was back when it was like a 2-day show. And he had told me, he was like, hey, so I'd done prejudging, and he told me, hey, go get some sushi. And we went and got sushi. I got a parasite.
Of course.
Yeah. And this was like East Coast. They are very crass, very, well, I'll just tell you this. Hey, motherfuckers, if you don't come back to the night, or if you don't come back to the next day, because like a lot of people, if they don't get the placing at prejudging, they're sour and they don't come back. They don't come back to the next day. And so they were saying, we're going to pull all of your NPC cards. You won't be able to compete unless you come back. So I'm shitting my brains out. I'm shitting blood. I'm puking blood. I'm up all night, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared. I don't want to get my NPC card taken away. So I shit you not, dude. I get back up on stage the next day, and on the way out, like there were so many of us, a girl falls off stage. And so I'm like really like doing my best because I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to shit my pants on stage. Oh my God. And so like my butthole's puckered. I'm like running off stage. And yeah. And I'm in like my heels and stuff. And there's a trash can, and there's like Sadiq, what's his nuts? He was like a really popular men's physique guy. And he was like super flirty with me. And this was back when I had like a huge crush on him. I'm like, oh. Anyway, he was down there, and there's a trash can right by him. And he's like smiling at me. He's about to grab my hand. I was like, like in the trash can. Okay. So anyway, there's this story. In Colorado, the next weekend, there was, I believe it was Colorado State. It was another show. And so Adam and I were just like being silly because like I ended up like getting put in the hospital. And then I think I get out on like Wednesday. And so he and I are just like talking, and he's like, well, why don't you just do physique in this show? Like, we'll just have fun with it. Cause like I would do like stupid dances. And so he paid for my entry, and then he like burned me my music, and he was like, well, what do you want to dance to? And I said, burn me the Napoleon Dynamite song. I didn't have a routine, classic. Nothing. I show up on stage and I do the Napoleon Dynamite dance. And that's how people remembered me and like knew me. And that's kind of how I got like, I guess like a following, and like people like would be like, oh my God, anywhere? Actually it is. I need to find it.
Send it to Luke.
Okay.
He'll plug it in.
Yeah. No, it's great. And so that's how I got into women's physique, because then they were like, I actually placed lower in figure because I was a thicker figure girl at that point. And if you're up there and like your body shape's a little different, like it's very noticeable. So then they pushed me to women's physique. I actually did a lot better in women's physique. And then I was doing really great. And then I got with another coach, and I got with that one coach after Jerry, because I was still natural. And that's when I was like, oh, I gotta do this. So I got with that one coach, and then I got thick, boy. I got thick.
And were you digging at the time? You're like, are you like, yes, let's get big?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hardcore. I was in Metroflex. I was like, fucking rage, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.
Was there any worry about using the drugs? Like,
No, I was like, I'm gonna win.
I didn't know.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm gonna win on. Hell yeah, bro. I'm gonna
Well,
do it.
You feel great, even if you're like not in a good headspace. As far as like how you feel when you're at the gym, it's like you're a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your like veins popping and you're just like shredded. But with that coach, I was literally doing 4 hours of cardio a day. I was doing 2 lifts, a fasted lift, and then a lift in the evening. And then he ended up like I was going to kill myself that prep. Like, and I know that sounds like, oh, dramatic. No, brother. I literally was only able to eat tilapia. No veggies, nothing. So I remember being
This is all like coach's orders.
Yes.
That's some terrible coaches.
Bro. And he wants to talk about, fake coaches. And I'm just like, fuck off.
I've learned a lot since then.
I know. I'm just like, bitch, you got people dying. That's not okay. But anyway, I digress. Maybe don't put that in there. I want to come off as a nice lady. Nice lady with a little bit of sass. Yeah. And I remember just like, I'm at Armbrust and I'm on the stairs and I'm just like, I'm going to drive my car off a cliff today, off a bridge. And I remember just being so like, oh yeah, I'm going to finish my cardio. I'm going to do that today.
That's crazy. What's the point of the cardio?
I wanted to finish it out. I wanted to finish it out. Okay. And then, I remember like, oh my God, that's not a healthy thing to think about. And then I just remember grabbing a bag, grabbing my gym stuff, bringing my dog. And then I just drove from Colorado to Texas. Like, cause I was just not in a good space. And I finished prep out there. And then that's whenever I went to Miami and got a really, really shitty placing. But then, so got a different coach, and his name is Skip, and he's a fantastic dude. He's really big with like, there's something called like skip loads with him. And anyway, so got with him, and then he ended up like mentoring me. And then we just kind of had some disagreements because like I have an autoimmune background. So like a skip load is when, I believe he talks about this, so I'm not like giving away his secrets. A skip load is basically like you eat just like a ton. You eat so much that your body actually can't like absorb it and you just like poop a bunch out, but you take insulin when you do that. And I was going backwards and I was not feeling okay. And like Pop-Tarts would make me sick. And like, at first it was cool because I was like, wow, I can eat like a fucking bag of animal crackers and a whole Subway sandwich, holler. And then the feeling went away. And then I started telling him like, hey, like, I really don't think that this works with me. And he's like, yeah, you know, like that was his method, right? Yeah. And so then we kind of starting to have like a little bit of, not really conflict, but it was just like, I don't know about this. And so then I started like on my skip load days, I would just start to like eat more of the healthy foods, right? And then all of a sudden things started getting real good, you know? And then he would ask me things like, well, hey, you know, my stomach's doing this. What do you think? And I'm like, well, brother, I don't know about those skip loads. And then again, we would kind of have like a little bit of conflict. Well, now my sweet, sweet, sweet Papa Skip, love him so much. His skip loads are now like poke bowls and like all the healthy stuff,
calories,
you know?
Good calories.
Yeah. And I believe he still, you know, does skip loads and things for people that it really works with, you know, but it's not like a blanket thing that everyone can do. And he actually just did a show and he did a master's bodybuilding and I think he did great. I'm always a diehard fan of Papa Skip. He's the greatest. Anyway, so I was following this coach. His name is Cliff Wilson, and he was really big in like the natural scene. And I knew that if you can get a natural client really shredded, like you really know what you're doing. And he was known for like getting people shredded. And I had been following him for a few years, and I was like a really big fangirl. And he would always put out like these articles, and like he does these interviews, and like I really just like resonated with everything. But he was also very pricey. And so whenever I got with my husband, now I'm like not in a state of survival. Now I'm in like, okay, I can thrive a little bit. And so I talked to Josh, and I'm like, hey, I think I really want to reach out to Cliff. And I had talked to Skip before because I'm in Skip's mentorship program at this point. And again, it was one of those situations with like the Adam thing. And I'm kind of like, I want to like, I love to learn from as many people as I can learn from. Because I think, that the more that you know, the more you can really be like, hey, you know what? I think this works. So you can like pick and, so anyway, I had reached out to Skip, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, I really want to like see how this goes. And he supported it. And so I reached out to Cliff, and he had like this whole like application thing. And of course, Josh supported it too. And this guy reaches out to me, and he's like, hey, like Cliff is really interested. He thinks that you have a story. And so then we start working together. And like I told you, he was a pretty penny. It was a nice little investment, very much worth it. And one of the first things he tells me was, I think that you're going to have the most challenge mentally. We need to like retrain your thoughts on some things. So like carbs. With every coach before, I couldn't have any carbs. And with him, he was giving me carbs before bed. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? And then he let me do my own macros. He let me, like, he gave me room, but he gave me like bumpers, and he's really good with like the psychology component too, which is what I really needed. And then like we did our first show together, and I took, I think it was like 1 point from overall. And I drove down to Florida because Skip lived in Florida, and I stayed with Skip, and Skip was like, this is the best you've ever looked. Like he was on board, like he went to the show, like we had a great time. It was an awesome dynamic. And then I remember Cliff called because like I'm always really grateful with my placings. Like I'm just grateful to be here. And Cliff called, and he's like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, what's up, bro? I just took first place. What are you doing? He's like, and he was kind of upset because there was actually some, and I know this is like unspoken, but there was like some political stuff that happened with the whole like overall first place. She went on to get her pro card at the next thing, but like there was some questionable things that had happened, and he knew it. And he's like, oh my gosh, are you upset? And I'm like, no, dude, like I'm great. I'm cool. Anyway, so then right after that, that was in July. So then November, we go back to Miami in women's physique, and I take 5th place. And I looked good. I was shredded. But next to those girls, I was a bodybuilder. And they didn't really give me feedback to say like, go to bodybuilding.
Like you're too big.
I was right on the line. Like if I'd come in maybe like even more conditioning to the point where like I lose mass, I think I would have done better. But like the girls, when you stand next to them, like I have a more bodybuilding frame. Like women's physique then, not now. Now is another story. But back then, like the women's physique, they had smaller frames, but they were jacked and shredded. Me, I was like jacked and shredded, but I was thicker. I was more of that bodybuilding.
You're husky.
Yes, I'm husky. So anyway, we went on to do. Well, there's another story with this, my friend. Are you ready? Am I talking too much?
Oh,
Talk away.
go for it.
Okay. So we decide that I'm going to do the USAs in July. I hate Vegas. I said I would never go to Vegas. That's not my jam. But we decided on that.
But your life at this point is bodybuilding.
Exactly. It's bodybuilding. Now, my husband, so we had just got married, and my husband deployed in, I think that was like January. And
What year is this?
March 17 or 18. No. I got my program in 2019. So this was, I think, early 2019. So at that point, I'd already had one stroke in 2010 or maybe it was 2013. Anyway, and so one day I'm just it's sometime in March, and I just come back from the gym. I'm doing like my nightly thing, and I'm chilling on the couch, and he and I were like texting, and I'm laying with my dogs, and my arm starts to twitch, and I'm feeling kind of like drunk, and my arm starts to twitch, and at that point I think it's funny. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, no, this is silly. And then all of a sudden my whole arm twitches, and then my body twitches, and I have a seizure. And I get stuck on the ground, and I'm on top of my little dog, and my little dog's screaming, and like I'm urinating, and I'm like, oh my God, I just married this man. He's deployed. I'm going to be a vegetable. Like I would like all of these thoughts, you know, and then I'm thinking like, oh my God, he's going to have to bury his wife, like all of this stuff. And like, I was on the ground. I can't even remember how long it was. I know it was at least 20 minutes. And I'm just like on the ground, and I'm just like talking myself and like breathing, like really focusing on trying to just like keep my breath, and just like focusing on like, there was like a piece of the couch that I was really trying to focus on, and just like keep my soul connected, if that makes sense. And I call one of my friends, and like, I can't really talk, but I'm just like, and then we had some sort of like security system, and I'd unlocked the doors, and I'd like pressed the emergency. Anyway, so like, EMS rushes in, like, you know, and I had a stroke. And I can't talk, and I can't lift like my left side. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're trying to, you know, get with Red Cross, like get my husband home. And I'm like, he's not, no, this is not reality. This is my spiral brain back then. He's not going to love me. He's going to come back. Like, why? We're young. Like, I can't let him, you know, just like all of these things. Right. And so like, I refuse. I don't want him home. My goal was I was going to get better. And so I had to go through this whole process. Like, still to this day, like this side doesn't smile all the way. And whenever I get like really tired or anxious, like it's hard to talk. But so I had to learn, like for a long time, like I couldn't talk. I could make noise. And so I would write down like my little brother came to take care of me. And I remember he took me to like this restaurant to eat. And the guy was like treating me as if like I couldn't hear or like I couldn't understand. He'd be like, well, what do you want to drink? You know? And I'm like, a fucking water, my guy, read this, you know? And like, I would wear a sign, and I'm like, I can understand you, but I can't physically talk. Let me write, you know? And people that can't even speak like, you know, sign, they can't even sign. They would try and do sign language to me. And I'm like, why are you? But then I realized like people only do, like they really want to do their best, but they don't know, you know? And I just remember like crying and like kind of like voicing out like I can't even do it. How do I even? It would be like I'm stupid, or like God, I can't even do that. And my brother, I just remember he like broke down crying, and he's like, "You're not stupid. You're not stupid. You're beautiful. You're amazing." Like all of these things, you know. Anyway, so I decided to keep on training for this show, and I'm gonna do it secret. And Cliff and I did everything secret. And I just remember like trying to learn how to like do a push-up again. And thank God I already had like all of the muscle mass, but I would do my exercises with bands, just standing in the kitchen, or like being on the floor in the kitchen, just like by myself. And then Josh comes home like a week before the show. He, you know, rides it out with me. We end up going to Vegas, and I win.
As a jacked mute.
As a jacked mute. Yeah, I win. And at that point, like,
you still can't talk.
No.
Really?
No.
What?
It's like making noises. It's like, I have video of it. I'll have to go back and find those. But people were looking at me like inspirational. Because I'd be talking, you know, not talking, but it's like, I remember making a post, and I was talking about like people and their scars. Like, this is just a scar that I'm like living through. Like, this is my, like, this is my trophy, so to speak. Like I continue to live. But anyway, so like when you're in bodybuilding and like you're really in it, like you're family, like everyone knows, you know, like you know about everything, right? And so I remember being up on that stage, and when they called out, you know, like IFBB Pro, I just put my hands on my face and I just start crying. And then I look out and like there's some judges that are crying, and there's people in the audience that are crying, and then all these people are like, you know, like just sending me pictures that they got. And I remember like running off stage and like jumping into Josh's arms, and like people were sending me pictures of that. And anyway, so it was a really beautiful moment. Yeah.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Josh says that I need to wear
redemption.
Josh says that I need to wear a GoPro everywhere I go because of all the crazy stuff that happens. Yeah. And then that's actually when I realized that there's a lot of dirty mother effers in this industry. Because back then, a lot of people like treated me like ass. And then all of a sudden, now that I'm a pro, they're my best friend.
Yep.
No. And so then I started calling people out. Because like, I'm really big on authenticity. And kind of like what we were talking about, I have a real hard time with social media nowadays because it's like there's so much fake and you don't know. And like when you meet your heroes, quote unquote, a lot of times they're assholes. Like I met, I don't know if you want to mark that out, mark her name out. I don't want a lawsuit, dog. I don't know if this is whatever. And so this was back when I was a figure girl, and was like, I think she was like Bombshell. She was a figure pro. And I was like, oh my God. And she was running like a GNC booth. And I got there, it was like the day before, and she was like setting up the booth, and like she was by herself. And so I like walked up and I was like really excited to meet her, you know, tell her like, oh my gosh, like you're one of my inspirations. And she looks up at me and she's like, and I look at her, I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's an honor to meet you. And she goes, what do you need? What do you want? And I was just like, just treated me like ass, man. And I'm kind of proud of this. It's pretty petty. She had like the canned drinks that were lined up. I just fucking on my way out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She probably just like lost a puppy and then her boyfriend broke up with her.
Well, don't be an asshole. Don't be an a-hole. You
Never
have,
meet your
Because you
heroes.
never know when you're never know when you're gonna meet someone. Because she probably didn't think of herself as this big. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I mean,
she
now
probably
I can
sucks.
get it.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite the journey.
Quite the journey.
Quite
Yeah.
the journey. That's a cool story.
Yeah. Thanks, I guess.
So your bodybuilding, we talked about you're huge, you're jacked,
Yeah.
you're taking all the stuff. When do you realize and some people don't like, or when do you think like, oh, this is too much?
Well, actually, so whenever I got with Cliff, like we cut down a lot. And then I started, I did a mentorship with John Jewett. Do you know who that is? Class act of a guy.
Someone just mentioned him to me. Oh, it's Mehdi, he's a like a 3 or 4 time Olympian. He said he really respects his stuff and thinks he's like super smart. I don't know John at all.
I think he's like a RD.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, do you follow him?
I have no clue.
He has really good stuff. Very good body. But actually, the first time I was introduced to him was, or kind of aware of him, was he competed against Tonio Burton, one of our athletes up in, gosh, I don't know where it was, Oregon or somewhere. Tonio actually beat him as a rookie. But it was like, it was a big deal that Tonio had beat John.
Yeah, I think John is great. I think like obviously I don't know him, like he's not my bestie, but I genuinely think he's a great human. And I'm gonna sound like a hater, but I don't think there's a lot of good, genuine people in bodybuilding. I think a lot of psychopaths get popularity.
It's a weird crowd.
It is. A lot of psychopaths and like narcissists. But I think John is, again, a genuine class act person. Anyway, he taught me a lot about gear and how you want to titrate things, you know? And so like whenever it comes to like you want to start with like 200 of test, right? And then if you want to add something on, do test first, and then your next cycle do, you know, like 100 of primo on the tests. And so, you know, you titrate very slowly and you get more bang for your buck.
I'm just this is just a completely kind of off subject. I'm just curious. Do women take 200 milligrams of test?
Oh, I know people that do. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Probably that one with the beard right now.
I know like TRT doses, but it's funny because like maybe this because I'm a man, like male doses are somewhat known.
Yeah.
You know, like I know that 200 is TRT. I know that 500, like you're trying pretty
You're getting
hard.
there. Yeah.
750 a gram, then you probably take some other stuff. Like you're starting to look kind of like a bodybuilder beyond women. I know like TRT is like 8 milligrams.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's teeny.
Yeah.
tiny.
If a woman ever asked me like, what should I do test? What should I take? I'm like,
200.
Well, no, no.
No, I know.
No, I'd be like, do 50, do 100. And I would be giving like 6 times what, because it's just it's women have testosterone, but it's just in such less abundance in the body.
Yeah.
It takes and we'll get into this, but it takes very little to change a woman, where a man, it takes much more.
Yeah.
Much more.
Yeah. And then you run into, so actually like women, we have more, the ratio is like more than actual men, but we just have much smaller amounts. Where was I going to go with that? Oh, I've had like a lot of women come to me and they're like, oh, you know, my boyfriend, like I got this advice from him. I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing? Like 50 mgs of D-ball and like all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing?
And if you take a man's dose, you end up.
You're going to have a PP. Mm-hmm. You have a PP. I've seen PPs back there. Whenever oh God. Okay, so whenever you get tan, they just like, it's like a cattle call. They throw you all in the same area and you're all butt naked and they've got a bunch of fans on you and you're all just like trying not to look at each other, but you're like getting like some looks, like secret looks, you know? And it's terrifying. It's terrifying what they're working with. And I mean, like, well, I guess it's relative, you know, depending on what you're going for. But I saw some women have to tape their stuff up.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And this was also like,
don't throw it up, Luke.
This was before I even like did stuff like that.
It's a full-on heavy bag.
And I could never look this woman in the eye again. Don't put that on there either.
Because you're constantly staring at her.
I'm just
stuff.
like, how do you?
You can't look at her in the eye.
Yeah. And like when you're even on just like a little bit of stuff boing. Even whenever you're on like a little bit of stuff, like you get extra sensitivity down there. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like blue balls. It hurts. It hurts. And I'm thinking, how are you riding a bike? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's pretty insane. I also, because of experiences that I had, I don't know if I want to share this or not.
Do.
I want to respect people and their wishes, okay? I have been diagnosed dissociative identity disorder. So do you know what that is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so people that don't know, like before it was multiple personality. I'm not a murderer. It's just from some serious traumas that had happened before. And I don't really talk about it. And it's not one of those like all these little TikTokers, you know, oh, I feel like I'm going to be Betsy. Let me just change my clothes, like all that craziness. Anyway, so I can understand feeling like someone else and having that like body dysmorphia kind of thing. And I will say whenever I was on testosterone, it happened a lot more. So I would get people that are coming to me and they are like female to male transition. Because I'm a women's bodybuilder, it's not terribly different.
These are people coming to you. They're actually they're not bodybuilders.
They want to be bodybuilders.
But they are living as a man.
Yes.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Okay. I don't know if it's like, hey, they've
Oh, like they started bodybuilding and then they were like,
so much they kind of ended up.
Yeah, no, this is like, I met them, like they were already transitioned and they wanted to be like, they wanted to be, not be me, but they wanted to like get a body like me, you know?
And they want to be female. These are female to male, but they want to be female bodybuilders.
They want to be male bodybuilders, but they related to me because I was a women's bodybuilder. And you're both, if you're born in a woman's body and you see a women's bodybuilder and you see a woman's body that you want to achieve, it kind of makes sense.
It looks masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these types of people I've had to, I'm not trying to say like all you people, it's just the boundaries and like the mental health component of it. Like I've been threatened my life because I said, don't text me at 3 a.m. Like I'm married. You have to cut this out. Like all of the boundaries are blurred because then like these people are also thinking like, oh, like she's just like me. Oh, we're buddies. Like, and it got so bad that I'm like, I can't handle this anymore.
And these are just random people that are just befriending you.
Yes. And it's exhausting. And like, I would have to keep my phone on like silent and like do not disturb. And like, it was just so much. And so I started like placing boundaries. I'm like, listen, like you can't do this. Like, I'm not that person. Like we're not homies. Like we're cool, but like I'm your coach. You don't need to be talking to me about like, oh, I got mad at this girl because she wanted me to have a penis and I don't. And so now I'm going to egg her car and like all of that. And so like I have these people that are very aggressive. And so then it's like, oh my God, if they're going to do something to that person and I fire them from coaching, what are they going to do to
These
me?
are mentally unstable people.
Yes. And I'm not saying like it's trans people. It's just these particular experiences that I've had really burn me. And then I started seeing like the mental health component to it. And so then like one of them, like he was like, oh, my doctor isn't giving me my TRT anymore, and like started freaking out. And so then he's like, you need to get me gear. And I'm like, that's not me. You need to go to your doctor. Like, especially if I know that you're out here like burning people that like you think I'm not. Even if I had a connection, like would I give that to you?
Not gonna be your plug, yeah.
Fuck no, dog. So anyway, I was like, no, I don't do that. Stop contacting me. And when I tell you that this kid was like, I hope you fucking die. And this was whenever I had cervical cancer. And I was sick. I didn't share that with a lot of people, but I was sick. And he's like, I hope you fucking die. You're a bad person. That's why you have fucking cancer. Like, it was so bad. And so then I had to place a boundary. Like, I can't do that. And then I see a lot of mental health things happening when women are taking all of this exogenous chemicals, hormones. And then like I see my friends, you know, like when I knew them, they're okay, you know, everything was normal. And then they start taking more and more and more. And the IFBB is like, bigger, harder, bigger, harder. No, but we want you feminine, bigger, harder, bigger, harder. Like
we talk, so it's tough. Like you tease me with my taste. I like like muscular women, but there's, and I don't know. I give her the example, like I don't have a beard like you have, but I have scruff. It's hard to say like when it's an actual beard, but it's like, that's a beard.
I got a beard like that, dog.
You know? So it is like when you like Tyler will come off, it's like, hey Brent, how about her? Too much? You know, like
hey, to be fair, this beard didn't come in until I started taking TRT.
Nice. Look at you.
I'm dead serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you use like
It's
beard
crazy.
oil?
I don't, but I should.
Just coconut oil? I'm kidding.
but it is, it's like you don't know what's too much. It's a hard thing to describe.
Yeah.
But when you see it, and everybody would have a different level of what they call a beard. Like, you know, but when I see it, I'm like, no, that's too much. So for women's bodybuilding, I don't want to say they're not the victims of the judges or that. I mean, that this is all self-induced, but it is hard as a judge if you're saying, well, you have two women sitting next to each other. One, it's bodybuilding, and one is larger and leaner, let's say they have equal physiques, proportions, etc., but one's a little larger and leaner, as a judge, it would be tough just to arbitrarily say, well, no, we want someone, because you don't know that line. I'm kind of sticking up for the judges, I guess, like to say like, no, I prefer the smaller one. That's the standard, whatever. Because the standard is big and muscular, and the more proportions, the more. So in every category, it seems to continue to reward the more muscular, leaner look until what you have in women's bodybuilding is very masculine women that are also being told by the judges, hey, you could do really good because you still look feminine. Still look, meaning the other people, they're equal, but you look feminine. So what a dichotomy of look feminine, take all these male hormones, you lose your hair, you're going to grow facial hair,
you get that thick face.
Yeah, deal with all that, and it is like, what a mind fuck.
Yeah. I did Chicago Pro for my pro debut, and this was when it was in Atlanta. It had like the COVID and all that stuff was going on, and made top 10. Like they were like, oh, who's that? And I had friends in the audience that's sitting in front row. Even like my Cliff was there, everything. And they had pulled up my Instagram and they were looking at me while I was on stage. And then for the next show, I did Tampa Pro. And then even more, like some very well-known people, well-to-do, very powerful people, not name dropping, come up to me at one of the after parties after the Tampa Pro, because I had gotten 10th place, or I think that was 9th place. Anyway, they were like, you are still feminine. You are absolutely beautiful. You need to be the face. Like, you're still feminine. And that was crazy. Because even like J.M. Mannion, it's kind of funny. So after the show that I did really shitty in, I actually left NPC and I went with, there was this IFBB coach who broke away and he created his own association, right?
Just Wings of Strength?
No, Wings of Strength. That's like straight bodybuilding. No, this was called, God, this is so embarrassing. This was called NSL, Inspire Sports League. And now this dude, like, I don't follow him anymore. Like, he's gone off his rocker. I think he has a church now, and apparently he thinks he's Jesus. Like, this shit is wild, dog. Like, are you drinking mushroom tea every morning, or like, what's going on with you?
See if he has a sponsor.
Anyway, so he and I talked, and he was like, okay, like, you're going to be one of the main pros. Like, we are going to like set you up, like,
in this league.
Yes. And so I moved to that league and I got my pro card, like did the whole shebang and everything. I got my pro card. And J.M. Mannion I said, J.M. Mannion, oh my God, strike that too. I don't want to be on anybody's shit list. Anyway, so he finds out and he literally blocks me from Facebook. And I'm like, oh no, if I can't ever compete in NPC again, I can't go at IFBB, certainly not. Well, then when I got my pro card, I had blue hair and he didn't recognize me. And so when we're doing like the pro card winner, like photo shoot the next day, he's like, oh my God, you're beautiful. I love your look. You're so feminine. Like, we're so glad you chose to be with us and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you have no fucking clue who I am, do you? Anyway, so going back to, what are we talking about? Got my pro card, did very well, all that. Okay, yeah. So one of my friends was Goob. You guys know Goob, right? Like
he
John
calls
Dorsey.
People out.
Yeah, he does.
The Instagram guy, yes.
Yeah, so we were friends.
He calls out pedophiles. He's good.
But at first he called out, like, now I think, I really don't watch his stuff anymore. But before, like, when he had just like a couple hundred, like, he was my posing coach. And he and I were cool. Like, we would bullshit, like, a cool dude. And then, like, we're not really, like, close anymore. But after Tampa Pro, or maybe it was after Chicago Pro, he was like, he and I were on the phone, and he's like, hey, like, you need to be more conditioned here. You need this, you need that, blah, blah, blah. And so then he introduced me to one of his friends that was a coach. Do you see this habit with me? Asshole. And so I'm with Cliff, and I'm like, hey, Cliff, what do you think about This guy's name, fuck man. I'm not going to say this guy's name. I don't want the drama. What do you think about me?
You said everybody else. No, I'm
I
kidding.
did.
Don't say it.
But
Keep going.
what I'm going to share about this guy, I'm just like, I really don't want to fucking like open that can. And I definitely don't want John to be like, oh, you know, because I didn't even tell John. Goob. And I especially don't want goob on my ass. Leave me be.
Yeah.
So anyway, Cliff is like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, again, kind of let me do what I want to do. But he's still my nutrition guy, you know? He's part of that. He wants you to be your very best, like no matter what, you know? And so he starts like, he gets me on the phone and he's like, oh my God, you still sound like a lady. And I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. He's like, how much are you taking right now? And I was like, well, just this and this and this. He's like, oh my God, you're not taking much at all. And I'm like, I guess not. So then he's like, hey, you need to be on this, la, la, la. So I'm getting on this, and then I start getting really thick, like EQ was one of them. And I start getting that like thick face, and then that like fat face, that moon face, you know? But I don't notice it because I'm in the body, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, and then he's like, oh, you're finally starting to look like a bodybuilder. And this was like, I was like, oh my God, yeah, because I'm one of those, I need the recognition, like a little shit. Not thinking like, bro, without you, I was already a pro. Like I was already a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so he's like, and then I'm telling him, I'm like, I mentioned something about like, I'm kind of getting tired. Like my muscles are getting sore, this and that. And we were going to push it out and then we were going to deload. Well, then I tear my shoulder and I had like paid him all this stuff. And then he goes, oh shit. And that was the last I ever heard of him. He had my money, he had everything. And he goes, oh shit. And then like, I'm texting him, I'm emailing him, I'm still sending him my check-ins and nothing. And I'm like, Cliff, like, this sucks. Like, did I do something wrong? You know? And Cliff's like, no. And so he's like, well, why don't you like, you know, talk to your friend? Because Goob was like, oh, you got a hard on for Cliff. Like, you're a fangirl. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a fucking fangirl. Like, Cliff is amazing. He's great. Like, he's an awesome coach. And so like, there was kind of like this, oh, you need to pull away from him. Like this weird, you know, anyway, and so then I tore my shoulder, you know, and then that was it for me. And
that was the end of bodybuilding.
That was the end of bodybuilding. Yeah.
Would you have quit if it wasn't for the shoulder?
Honestly, I say that the shoulder was, I feel like that was a universe, like God thing, because I was not in a good mental health space. Like, again, taking more of that gear, like, you could do like fucking laundry on my ass because it was so shredded, but I was like, oh my God, no, like I'm still fat. I'm not good enough. I'll celebrate this when I get to the Olympia. Like I was so mean to myself. And then again, I had a lot of like mental health stuff going on. And then even like Josh and I talked because like women that are like, well, not even just women, people that have more testosterone, if you are exposed to more testosterone in the womb, like you're different. Like you are more, I don't remember like the science to it, but you're more like, generally you're more calm, you're more stable, you're more sturdy. Does that make sense?
If you're exposed to it,
yes.
More of it.
Yeah. And there's other stuff to it. I honestly can't remember all the details to it. But so Josh and I were talking and like, now I'm completely different without all of that stuff. Now, like I was telling you, like I value my life. Bodybuilding, like my worth isn't there. And when I tore my shoulder, I was replaced overnight, my guy. Like people, like I said, I lost like thousands of followers. Like one of my really good friends, her name is Danny Reardon. You know her? Oh my God, dude, I love her. She's such a great human. She was, I don't know if she ever won the Olympia, but I think she was like top 2, like, anyway, she was very well known. She might have won an Olympia. I can't remember. But I was a huge fangirl. This woman is amazing. Anyway, so then like we ended up connecting and she's one of my very best friends. Now, like she removed herself. She doesn't compete. Now she's like, She goes to Peru. She's like, nature.
And she was a bodybuilder?
She does yoga. Yeah. And so her and I, like, we talked about a whole lot. And I mean, she's lost thousands of followers because, like, once people are like, oh, you're not this anymore, like, they hate you. It's really weird. It's like a weird parasocial thing. Like I was telling you, like, people were pissed off at me for getting pregnant and having a baby. Like, I've seen stuff on Gym Snark, the Reddit group, and it's like, these people, it's not your life, you fucking
crazy.
weirdo.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting. I kind of got off. Or did I stay on subject? I don't know.
No, you're good.
I mean, I want to bring this home. I really have to pee.
Go pee, dog.
Yeah. So let's bring this home. Women's bodybuilding. Where is it today?
Should I do it?
And has it with you mentioned trans. It's trans like in the national conversation now.
Yeah.
Like trans people is LGBTQ is much more prevalent now, even than 10 years ago and all that. And we were saying, like, kind of joking, but maybe it's true. Like, it used to be, if you saw a really muscular woman, like, that's a female bodybuilder, and it's not always a good, it's not always a good for society. They're not always met with like, oh wow, it's how cool, it's kind of like,
it's like black or white.
Yeah, you don't know it's if you're like professional strongman or something, this huge dude, everyone's like, wow, this
right?
Huge. But a huge woman's kind of like, oof, for something it's a little much. Some people, well, now it's not just that. It's people are also wondering if you're a guy.
Yeah.
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 Like going into the restroom or something. Like if you're a female bodybuilder, they may actually think that you're a guy using the restroom. You get out at the right time. Where is women's bodybuilding? Where do you see it?
Well, an aside. So now that I'm like removed from it, so to speak, and I see a lot of my friends that went from like, okay, they're doing well, to all of a sudden I see when they make that leap to taking a lot more gear, and then they have anxiety and they have depression, they have all this stuff, but they keep going because that they want to win, right? Like and of course I could be projecting, but like they're searching for something in this.
Well, also getting off, you feel like trash. People don't mention like some of the drugs you get off of. They're physically there's I don't know, like not an addiction like you're going to go through withdrawals, but there is an addicted to that feeling of
it's a mental, physical and mental.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that you're veiny all the time. You constantly have a pump. It's like you feel there is a good body feeling of it too.
Yeah.
There's an identity to it, and then when you stop taking it does fuck with your head.
Yeah.
Not all drugs, but some, especially if you're in very high doses, and then you pull back.
Hormones affect your gut, affect your neurotransmitters, affect all of that.
It's like a cliche, right?
Really
like, are you hormonal?
You are.
Well, and now you're taking crazy. Of course, it's going to affect your psyche.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen just in my experience, working in the field that I do, like functional medicine field, as a non-physician. I got to say that. I got to protect my scope, dog. I've seen like similarities to women that are taking birth control, to the same kind of mental health aspects. And like we can like backtrack, and because it doesn't always just start all of a sudden I have anxiety. No, it's like things start to happen slowly. So it's like they started birth control, and then all of a sudden they started getting like, a little bit of depression, and then anxiety, and then this and then that. And it goes from like being on birth control to this antidepressant, to this mood stabilizer, to this, and then they can't poop, and then they can't, like, all this crazy stuff. And so we can we can trace a lot of it back to this. And again, I see similarities with women that are on gear. And so, yes, you do. You change completely. And that's kind of what I've been going through, kind of what I shared with you, like, the past few years, like this new kind of identity. Like, I'm very happy and proud of who I am. But it's like that part of my life, and it's hard to see it because then I see that girl who would have done anything. I would have killed myself for bodybuilding. And I'm like, oh my God, my shoulder was a blessing because it caused me to pause. It caused me to get healthy. And I was able to have our miracle child. And now, like, I can't imagine life without her, you know? And it's also interesting because like seeing my friends, like I was saying, go from like, oh, hey, everything's fine, to like seeing the leap, and then watching all of their mental health stuff. I've had to step back. Like I can't watch that. I can still love them and I can still want the best for them. But at the same time, I'm like, what are you going through? Are you okay? You know? And then now that I'm on this end of it, you know, I told you like I've lost a ton of followers, right? I gained a lot of followers too, because the people that like, they couldn't watch me do that anymore. And then now that I've been on like this way, they've come across a post and then they're like, oh my God, I didn't recognize you. You look great. You look healthy. And then like what we were talking about, people think that just because they compliment you that it's okay. Like, oh my God, you're so much prettier now. Oh my God, like I don't recognize you. Cool, thanks. Appreciate it. But even just like watching your body, it is different. But I will say that I can look at my body now and I'm a skinny little shit now, man. Like, especially like post shoulder surgery, like this little dude is like hanging on by a thread, you know, I'm a little nugget, but I'm like, oh my God, I'm beautiful. And not in like a, beautiful, but like I really appreciate
genuinely
my
happy
body.
with the way you look. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate more of how I feel. I appreciate that I am mentally stable. I can actually have a conversation with people. I don't have, like with the DID thing, like I don't have like those switches anymore. Like things are more calm, things are regulated. Like it's a completely different life. And I'm very happy. And I just want my friends to be happy. And like if that makes them happy, awesome. But it's hard to see. And it hurts my heart knowing that like you're, you know, talking about the judging and trying to like, you know, be reasonable with like how they're judging, you know, like giving them
I want
the
to be
benefit
fair
of
to
the doubt.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. They hold power. They took women's bodybuilding away years ago.
Took it out of the.
They took it out. They
in the
took it. No,
Olympia.
they took it completely out.
Oh, it wasn't a class.
Yeah. Like that's why Wings of Strength came in. And I mean, I could be wrong on some of these specific details, but Wings of Strength came in so they could continue bodybuilding. But women's bodybuilding was out for a few years. Even when I was in women's physique, like we didn't have like women's bodybuilding. It might have been at like the amateur level, which I'm sure it probably was. But it was like they pulled all the shows because it was getting so extreme, and then not a big money maker. And I have friends that are still, they're on the bigger side and they do really well in bodybuilding. And like, I'm a fan, I think they're great. And they do still like really push that femininity. Like at that level, I think like you have to really try, like you have to put in a lot of effort to still maintain that femininity and that beauty, you know? And even then, like they're still a bit extreme, you know, but like you can tell how they identify. And so then like they're working really hard because like women's bodybuilding, you don't get awarded. Like I think you get like $1,000 or $2,000 for like a first place, and you're literally killing yourself, man. Like at that level, like you got to be on gear. You got to do all this stuff. And so you're getting a little bit of money. I had problems getting normal jobs.
Sure.
Because you know, people were literally like, oh, cool, thanks. See you later. And so like you have all these women that are already struggling and it's hard to make a living. And now they're going to OnlyFans. Now they're going to, you know, they're struggling just to compete. And so if you compete in women's bodybuilding, you really have to love it because you're not getting paid. You get a pro card. That pro card doesn't do shit for you. Like, cool, you have the title, but you have to pay for it every year. Like, you're not like getting a paycheck just because you're a pro, dog. Mm-hmm. No. And so some of my friends that, like I said, like they're really pushing for the femininity, like they have been trying hard to get like sponsorships to get more people into women's bodybuilding so you can get paid more. So you know what I mean? So the shows will do better, all of that. And then you have people that are coming in who are actively living as a male and they want to compete in the women's division with a beard. Do you understand that that's a mockery? that is, if you want to compete with the beard and you live as a male, I understand you were born as a female, but if you are transit, like you might not have the surgery, all of that, but if you are identifying as a male, you have a beard, you have a girlfriend, you have all of these things, you are a man in the real world, and then you want to compete in the women's division with a fucking beard.
In a swimsuit.
In it. Yes.
It is a weird thing because it's the only sport, if you want to call it that, it's the only sport where it's open drug use.
Right.
Right. Everybody knows. So it's not like, hey, I'm a woman and I'm going to take all these steroids. I'm going to compete against you in cycling or something. It's like, hey, we're all doing the same shit.
Right.
It's all like, I'm not going to change my facial hair. Like we could all grow a beard. I'm just going to do it and just step on stage. This is what it is. It's almost like the quiet part out loud where it takes like, oh shit, that's female body. It really didn't need, I'm sure as a female body, like, if we're still trying to look feminine and we're fighting this masculine push, but it's such a weird thing because that's also what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to make sense of in your head, like rationalize it, but now you're going to be competing against a trans man who's stepping on stage as a woman, but going to keep the beard. It's so you guys. I mean, I hope more people are like, what am I doing?
Well, it's also
doing?
taking women's bodybuilding back, like leaps and bounds back, because we are already viewed as like this novelty, right? Like this weird fetish. This like there's already all this like kind of just like kind of icky stuff. Like it's cool. Like you're a badass. You're a women's bodybuilder. Like you don't buy that physique. You work for that physique. And then, you're doing your best to maintain this femininity look or this feminine look, but then like the judges who hold the power, who can award softer physiques, who can set examples, but they're not. So then all of these women, continue to push. And I just think it's setting women's bodybuilding back. And like, it's kind of like a joke at this point. And I'm sorry, like my friends are literally dying and this is a joke. You're going to go on stage with a beard. Like, come on, you know better. You know better. And I think like, yes, may the best physique win. Great. But at the same time, like the judges do hold power. And they better fucking knock that beard, dog. That's not okay. Like, all right, cool. We're taking
guys
beard.
get
We all
for
have
tattoos.
A beard. Yeah, well, not really anymore, but they used to.
Maybe,
yeah, because they were distracting.
It can take away from your physique.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But like, at the same time, I'm like, oh, is this rage bait? Are you trying to grow a following? Like, what are you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't understand. You show me the images of the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I don't.
And actually, that's women's physique.
I don't get it.
I don't either. And I don't think it's okay. And I know that you know what you're doing, you asshole.
It's a weird thing to want to do, to step on stage like that. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's I don't know where women's bodybuilding goes. I mean, the sport as a whole, I think, has lost a lot of fans. Back when you had Arnold, he's this big muscle, and whether it's not true, but at least most guys could look at him and say, I would like to look like that. I'd like to go to the gym. I'd like to lift weights. What's heat? I want to look like that.
Yeah.
Women still thought he was attractive. He's a good looking dude. He didn't have the Cro-Magnon face. He's pretty skin. He's tan. Looked like a big jacked beach guy, and Arnold's, for perspective, Arnold's 6'2", 240 pounds, 220 on stage. Okay. Well, when guys look at, a Nick Walker or something like that, most guys don't say like, oh man, I want to go hit the gym because I could look like one. They don't want to look like that. And it's so unrealistic. He's pushed the science and everything so far that he looks like a mutant. And that didn't need the mutant. Like he looks freaky, and that's what's rewarding. He's a very successful bodybuilder, but it's the same in the women's division. I don't know if you could find bigger, more. I don't know what they could be doing. I don't think they could be bigger, more muscular, leaner. I think it's as hard as you can go.
Yeah.
And then just genetically, they happen to still keep some structurally are more feminine than others, and that's who wins.
Right. When I see Nick Walker, and this isn't personal, I don't know him, like we're not homies. It reminds me of Dallas McCarver, and I miss Dallas. Like we weren't besties, but like we were friends, and all of a sudden he's gone, and he was pushing, he was wanting to be like one of the best.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. And he was one of the best. And I just see like, it makes me worry for Nick, for his family, for those that love him, But then at the same time, I'm like, well, am I projecting? Like this, obviously he loves this. Obviously, like this is how he makes his living, like all of that. And then you have, this is kind of like, this is another cul-de-sac, but then you have other bodybuilders who don't even have insurance. And they're pushing all this gear, they're doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they get rhabdo, or their kidneys, or that. Things that you should probably know can happen. And then they're asking for, hey, can you give me money so I can pay for this? Like all the GoFundMes and all of that. And it's like, I just don't know how I feel about it. Am I just...
No, it is. I don't know how to end it, because it is women's bodybuilding is an extreme, even in body. It's a niche inside a niche.
Yeah.
But bodybuilding, it's a strange sport.
Yeah.
In terms of like most sports, you're in the you peak of your prime physical condition stuff. When you step on stage, these individuals are not. They're near death. They're dieted down. They're dehydrated. You have examples. There's a lot of death in the sport.
Yeah. And especially with like whether you got the vaccine, like COVID vaccine, whether you got the vaccine, you got COVID, now there's spike protein, which basically like scrapes the side of your vessels, which then causes like blood clotting and things. And then you're adding in, like you've got all this added hematocrit and like
high red blood cell, high possibility for
and then
clots.
It's like people, it's kind of like this unsaid thing. But then if you say it, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, like all this stuff. And it's like, well, no, it's just look at what's happening. Like, and
do you think it is the vaccine that's causing more bodybuilders to pass?
I think it's a combination.
Vaccines could have been terribly popular amongst bodybuilders.
I think it's about 50-50.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not afraid of getting shots.
Well, then at the same time, it's like how they're marketed. Like, oh, you need to help your neighbor. Like, and they kind of try to make you feel like you're a piece of shit if you don't. Like, oh, you're going to kill my daughter. Like, brother, no, I'm thinking about my health. Like me. It has nothing to do with you, but then they make it, there's a whole lot to that.
I just want to, it's so individual and how you're going to respond to any drugs, little, testosterone, steroids, whatever. Like, because I think you mentioned John Jewett, like he seems, time will tell with all of them, but seems healthy, well adjusted. When I think of bodybuilders like Jay Cutler, he seems to be completely on the other.
He's a great one.
He's a great guy. He's been a great ambassador for the sport. He seems very healthy. He's
a really lovely person.
He's 50 years old. He's maintained a fantastic physique and seems to be. I'm sure he's not, like I say, injury free. I'm sure he's banged. Anybody who's gone as hard and put as many miles
clang
on
and
his
bang,
body,
you're going to get it.
put as many miles on their body as he has. He's going to have some grooves here and there that don't feel good, but looks very healthy. Gets around well. I'd like to see Jay live a very long time. I think it's absolutely possible. And so how do you go from that to these, like you mentioned, these young guys dying, and where's the healthy thing in between? One thing bodybuilders have done is I think they're kind of experiments, that you get to find out what.
Yeah. Well, that Boston Lloyd, he was always like, with social media and the platforms that we have now, I think a lot of people are getting hurt because now there's people that have platforms and they're doing stupid shit, and that looks appealing to the young crowd, and they're like, oh my God, I can get Instagram famous because everyone wants to be an influencer now, But they don't talk about the other side. And I think that's incredibly
for everyone that
responsible.
does get famous, there's 10 million that don't. And the truth is, for bodybuilding, this is true for me. Like, most people can't do, even if you want to. A lot of that's a gift from mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't get there. And I think when you talk about drug abuse, a lot of it's not happening in the pro divisions. Even it's more
normal people
in the amateurs just trying to get there. They think, well, if I take, it's so overblown what the pros are taking. So if I take that, I could be a pro. And the truth is, you can't, because you have different parents.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
your folks determine a lot of what your genetic potential are.
Well, it's just like whenever women are like, oh, I want to work out, but I don't want to look like you. Well, it's like, okay, great, but like,
you can't.
You won't, my friend. Like, unless you really want to. It's
I think it's that a lot. My wife gets that a lot. Like, well, I want to join your
and they're trying to be nice about it.
I don't want to do your workouts if I'm gonna look.
Exactly.
I don't want to be bulky.
That's definitely like I have more androgens, like, naturally anyway, and so I'm already
probably
built
why
like
you're
that.
a good bodybuilder. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I had a turtle shell back, and I will say, like, I don't want to come off as like a hater to bodybuilding. I honestly, like, I have such a love for it, and I am nervous to work out again. Like, I'm so excited. Like, whenever I'm here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm out there, I'm shopping, and I'm in the Titan space. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, H&B, cool, let's do it. Oh, pre-workout, let's do it. Yeah, and I'm really excited. But then there's this other side of me that's like, do you really want to open that up again? What if you go back down that route? Like, I'm nervous.
I think you can find a balance, especially with the little one at home. I think you can find a good balance.
Well, I talked to Josh about just like, technically I can do natural IFBB now. And so I've been kind of mulling that over, and not in the sense of like competing like I did before. Like, oh, I'm not going to be proud of myself until I'm an Olympian, and oh, I'll do anything for this sport. I don't care if I die, all that. This is more like, I want to do it naturally, and I want to do it just for myself. And I also want to show my little girl that, like, you can be active and you can be fit and you can do like whatever you want to do. And I want to continue to be healthy. Like, I want, like, when I see you and Kai with your kids, like, I think you guys are wonderful examples. You teach your kids hard work. You teach your kids how to take care of yourself. You teach your kids how to be pleasant human beings, and that's what I want. But I also know that part of me, because I was in the IFBB and I am still, it's weird. I don't look like it. This guy, I walked in the gym and I'm like, hey, do you give like IFBB like free pass? And he goes, you're a pro? And I was like, well, once in a lifetime, one a while back I was. And he's like, no, you got to pay. I was like, here's $50 fucking, you dick. Anyway, and then I was like, pro card, what? But I want to be able to get back up on stage, like, me, how I want to do it, not worrying about, oh, I got to take this gear. Oh, I don't look like a bodybuilder yet. Like, all of that, So like, I did it the healthier but unhealthy way, because I was definitely not as far as other people. And whenever it got too far, that was a question that you asked before, I didn't really realize how far I got into it until I got injured. And then I started getting smaller. And then my phone started alerting me like, hey, do you remember a year ago? And I saw these photos and I'm like, oh, it's only
hindsight. You can only see it in hindsight, because in the time you're never big enough. It's never
exactly.
Enough. This is unsolicited advice. Just, you say you want to do it for you. You want to set a good example, a natural show.
I think, again, still mulling it over.
Unsolicited advice. Take the show, put that on the back burner. Just get in shape for you. Just find out what you like. I'm still kind of, what I did 5 years ago isn't what I do today. How Kylie trains today is very different than how she trained from a competitive Olympic lifter to a CrossFit to she's still kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
But she's happy because it's fun again, and it's activity, and so just my advice would be just go in the gym, do what's fun, have fun writing your program again, and doing your diet, just to be the best version of yourself. And if that leads to, well, I want to take this and I want to do a show, I want to be competitive with it.
Right.
If that's really what you want to do, because you may, if you don't go into it thinking, this is the goal. The goal is to step on stage. I want to step on stage natural.
Right.
Because then you have to train like that.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're a competitive human being. That's that's where it's going to go.
Right.
But if you start training, you say, you know what, I really like this high rocks, right? CrossFit's kind of fun. I kind of like this.
Yeah.
But I promised myself I would do this. And then you have that, well, shit, I promised myself, I'm disappointed. Like, just go have and see where that takes you.
So I think my mindset is like, I would train as if I was going to compete, because like, if you ever have a thought that you're going to compete, even if it's 2 years down the road, I'm not going to train like a bikini girl if I want to do physique. You know what I mean? And you need to be thinking about how you're training now if you're going to step on stage a certain physique in the future. So my thoughts are like, I want to be able to make this kind of, which this is kind of I don't know if this is a realistic take, but train like, I'm doing natural physique, just have a great time with it. If I don't want to get on stage, all right, cool. But I'm still showing my little girl that you can be in shape and all of that. And it's also like, okay, cool. Well, I don't get on stage. Well, yeah, I was kind of training for it. But then if I don't, like, I'm going to be okay with not doing it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I really do. I love my girls that are in bodybuilding. I just don't know how I feel about where the IFBB's gone, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they shoot themselves in the foot. They take away women's bodybuilding and then they don't want everyone in this extreme, la, la, la. Then they continue to award it. And then guess what? Women's bodybuilding is getting that way again. And now what are they going to do? They're pulling out a lot of shows. It's out of the Arnold. It's out of this. It's out of that. Now I think there's like, don't quote me, but I think there's like 7 or 8 women's bodybuilding shows out of the year now. So,
What is that? A cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Here's okay. Tale. You asked me today, if you ask me, should you compete or not? I would say, don't do it to find your worth. Do it because it's something that you want to achieve, but you already enjoy training that way, and do it the way you want. I think there needs to be a new sort of generation that steps up into this, and maybe they don't get as extreme. Maybe they keep it more, healthier, quote unquote. And then guess what? When there's more of those that are in, and then you have the outliers that are really pushing it, well, guess what? You can award these people. And probably much less heart attacks and strokes and all of that.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, I think competing is awesome. I think you should protect yourself, protect your mental health. Do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. And really just enjoy it. And if a judge tells you need to take more gear, tell them, suck it.
Where do I get? Oh, suck it. Sorry.
Look,
where do I get
it? Suck it.
Brittany, thank you. That was fun.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.